Our focus is going to be on MPLS and GRE tunnels. Now, many of you have already taken the dive into MPLS, VPNs. You have eliminated the leased lines, or you've eliminated your frame relay infrastructure in flavor of MPLS. Our discussion is not going to focus around what is happening in the service provider's network for MPLS. That's saved for the service provider courses. But here, we're going to discuss what may be beneficial for us, either layer 2 VPNs or layer 3 VPNs. Layer 2 VPNs, the service provider's infrastructure is purely layer 2. So how are you going to end up connecting your routers across that layer 2 VPN? In addition to that, with layer 3 VPNs, we are now dealing with many different subnets in the service provider's network. So how are you going to connect your routers from end to end across this layer 3 VPN solution? But regardless, these VPN solutions are running over top of MPLS, whereby the service provider has implemented the MPLS features and functions of label switching in order to ensure that the traffic goes from one end all the way to the other end without ending up in the wrong place. Because remember, this is a shared infrastructure. You are sharing this MPLS environment with other organizations throughout the world. When it comes to the tunneling VPNs, we have GRE as just one example. And we focus on GRE here because it is a Cisco designed tunneling option. So generic routing encapsulation. Generic routing encapsulation was invented because we required the ability to transmit routing protocols over networks that didn't support the transmission of routing protocols. We required the ability to transmit other applications and features and services across infrastructures that didn't support it. So with the GRE tunneling option, you can now take those packets that normally wouldn't be allowed over that particular infrastructure and put it inside the tunnel and get it across. But it's not secure by default. It's up to you to implement some type of security mechanism such as IPsec. And with IPsec, as we'll see, you can now wrap up that GRE packet and protect it as it's being transmitted across an untrusted network. We'll also look at a way that we can leverage the power of GRE tunnels, leverage the power of IPsec, and implement DMVPNs, dynamic multi-point VPN solutions. Probably one of the most scalable solutions that we have out there for connecting our remote sites back to headquarters. And as you'll see here, it is a relatively easy model that's going to give you the ability to scale to great sizes relatively quickly if new branch offices come online. And then we have our hybrid approach. And all the hybrid approach is taking, for example, your MPLS layer 2 or layer 3 VPN solution and laying over top of it a dynamic multi-point VPN as an example. Now, why would you want to do that? Trust reasons. You are transmitting over the MPLS infrastructure your corporate traffic. Is it encrypted? No. Is it protected? No. You're relying on the service provider for all the security, which there really is none. The only real security that's in place is that they are ensuring that your traffic's not going to end up in the wrong site. But who's to say they're not sniffing it, or some outside source is not sniffing the traffic, capturing it, keeping it? So with the hybrid approach, you have your layer 2 or layer 3 MPLS VPNs, and then you are laying over top of that your GRE tunnels and wrapping those in IPsec. So that way there you have the protection that you need. Now, that does introduce an excessive amount of overhead when you start adding and adding and adding on top of each other, but you have to weigh the benefits versus the non-benefits. Do you need the protection? Do you need the security? Do you want to be able to quickly deploy more sites and connect them up to headquarters without doing a whole lot of configuration? Something to keep in mind.